Howdy partners. So I've heard out there's some folks that think I, as a Chinese who grew up in a Chinese city, wanted to become a cowboy because I played too much Red Dead Redemption. Well there my friends, I'm sorry. You're not correct for my case. What I'm really interested in is the presence of agriculture in terms of art and sociology. However, for those who assume that I wanted to become a cowboy for playing video games, there's still some truth in that assumption for the rest of our society. Therefore, today I'm going to dissect some sociology related to agriculture in cyberspace. When envisioning imageries and fantasies relating to agriculture, most people may think of movies, documentaries, books, country music, and today's social media. As graphics, algorithms, and artificial intelligence have advanced rapidly, the interactions between cyberspace and real space have also become intensified. Thus, video games have evolved into compelling platforms which provide players glimpses of agriculture through historical and cultural backgrounds in games, increasingly realistic NPCs,
"You killed my cousin, you sick son of a bitch!"
and environments that players can interact with thoroughly. Many environments in games are characters too. So, the environments as personas in games are storytellers as well. Through the cultured landscapes, it becomes easier for us to connect with the avatars that we control, which in return builds a strong connection between us, the players, and our surroundings in cyberspace. The personas of environments in the world of video games can lead us to a concept, sense of place. The term has different social and psychological implications. However, for cultural geographer Yifu, the term sense of place was used to describe people's emotional relationships and attachments to physical locations, which are often more than just names and spatial presence. To discover if the concept of sense of place also applies in the digital world, Dr. Nicholas D. Bowman, Dr. Jamie Banks, and Dr. Christine E. Rittner conducted a study, Country Roads Through Ones and Zeros, Sense of Place for and Recollection of West Virginia, following long-term engagement with Fallout 76. As many players know that the onset of Fallout 76 was situated in a post-nuclear society in West Virginia. Many designs of locations and architectures in the game were modeled after real landmarks, such as the New River Gorge Bridge, one of the longest steel bridges in the world, the Greenbrier, which has a nuclear bunker that was designed to house the entire U.S. Congress, the Woodburn Hall in West Virginia University, the West Virginia Capitol Building, and coal-fired plants, which are iconic to a state that was famous for its coal production in the past. In Dr. Bowman, Dr. Banks, and Dr. Rittner's study, 556 participants completed 3 surveys regarding their recollections of West Virginia at 3 different time points. 2 weeks before the release of the game, 2 weeks after the release of the game, and 2 months after the release of the game. Roughly 24% of the participants were born, lived, or have lived in West Virginia. Participants' perceptions of significance, existential association, memory, aesthetic, and transcendence in relation to West Virginia were assessed. The findings of the study indicated that before Fallout 76 was released, players who were West Virginia natives had a more psychological attachment to the localities in their home state than players who were not West Virginia natives. However, this gap of sense of place between the 2 groups was closed after they played the game for 2 weeks. 2 months after the game was released, score of sense of place only dropped for those who no longer play the game. While it was certainly a pioneer study introducing the concept of sense of place in video games, the findings certainly made me ponder a question. As our minds and perceptions of reality are increasingly interlaced with rapidly improved graphics and algorithms and computers, how has our reality changed? Or did it change at all? In fact, on another sociological scope from another game, Red Dead Redemption 2, the iteration of sense of place in relation to the psychological state of the main character, Arthur, a soon outdated outlaw and cowboy, was also one of the themes in the storyline of the game. As industrialization drastically changed the landscape of the American West, with modernized towns, electricity, and railroads, willingly or not, people like Arthur became marginalized by members of the rest of society. Therefore, old outlaws no longer had a sense of place in a country where freedom could be embraced with less worries. The reality is, such iteration of loss of sense of place occurred throughout history, in video games and in today's cattle industry as well. Facing the challenging factors such as the lingering impacts of the pandemic and emerging technologies such as cultured meats, which, if becomes more commercialized, can be a far more efficient alternative to produce animal protein, the beef cattle industry has a strenuous journey ahead, yet filled with unrevealed opportunities. Being privileged to have worked in the industry, I've heard more than once that some cattlemen or women say the cattle business is the only thing they know. Although it can be a romanticized sentiment, it may not be hard to notice the collective nostalgia and the loss of sense of place among American cattlemen and women. However, aren't we all wayfarers on our own life journeys, seeking for a sense of place that may only belong to us? In fact, when I graduated with my master's degree last December, many of my family members wanted me to go back to China desperately. America was in the chaos of the pandemic, the capital was stormed, and anti-Asian American crimes were on the rise. There seemed to be no reason for me to be here, but I came and visited the Feedyard late at night, saw stars glistening in the nightly heaven, heard the cattle moo from a distance, and felt the wind caressing through the trees. I thought about them cowboys, then decided to decline my family's urgent request for me to go back, but to stay here as long as it is within my ability. With all the uncertainty in life in a foreign country, all I'm going after may vanish in front of me someday in the future. But in the pursuit of my own sense of place, perhaps a few verses from a Buddhist sutra can summarize it well. So you should view this fleeting world a star at dawn, a bubble in a stream, a flash of lightning and a summer cloud, a flickering lamp, a phantom, and a dream. Thanks for watching.
As my heart beats.